Welcome back to another Impact Show Q&A. I'm loving the questions I'm seeing, and today I've got two great questions that have come through. The first one is from Leslie Cordova, who asks, if you could only tell the high school kids you train 3 things to impact their life, what would they be? That's a great question, Leslie. And the other question I'm going to address in today's episode is closely related to athlete training. JT Sims asks, how do you get the most out of the athletes you train? So let's dive in and go right to it. Leslie, if you can only tell the high school kids you train 3 things to impact their life, what would they be? Number 1, to be the hardest worker in the room is mandatory. See, when I'm working with high school kids, middle school kids, heck, any kids, whether they're 7 or they're 17, I believe to learn the grit, the toughness, the work ethic that it takes, man, there's always another level to get to. And as The Rock always talks about, my friend from Under Armour, The Rock, what does The Rock got cooking? To be the hardest worker in the room, there's always another level of strength. And realize this, when you feel fatigue, when you feel tired, you've only hit about 60% of your max capacity. This is anyone. Let me repeat. When you feel tired, when you feel fatigued, you've only hit about 60% of max capacity. So when it comes to being the hardest worker in the room, there's always another level. And if you have big dreams, it's going to take a lot of hard work and even some delayed gratification to get there. Number 2, the second thing I would tell any high school kids that I train is I want you to be different. I want you to be different. I want you to be different in school. I want you to be different on the ball fields. I want you to be different in how you carry yourself. Don't be like everyone else. God made you special. God made you unique, and I want you to make sure you exploit your gifts. Don't be embarrassed of them. Don't feel like you got to fit in. Don't feel like you got to drink. You got to go to parties and do what everyone else is doing. No, be different. Ultimately, this is going to help set you apart in your life, in sport, in all aspects of what you do. So, high school kids, listen in. I want you to be different. Be proud of the gifts you have. And whether you have a ton of athletic ability or not, whatever role you have on the team, make sure you do it with pride. Make sure you go all out and always be a great teammate. And the third thing that I would say to help kids impact their life is success comes down ultimately to choices. Choices. Adults as well. The choices that we make every single day, the small ones and the big ones, make a massive impact in how your life goes. Good choices, good things are going to happen. And what I always say is this, hard choices, easy life. Easy choices, hard life. If you're constantly taking the easy route and doing the things that are really easy, life's probably going to be hard. You're probably going to do things that you're not going to end up where you want to end up. So what I'm going to ask you to do is I want you to dream big. I want you to think about what's it going to take to get me to the college I want to go to because of academics or music or dance or sport, whatever it may be. And what's it going to take? And what are the steps I need to do in school? What kind of grades do I have to have? What kind of character do I need to have? How much do I need to get out into the community and give back in the community? And when you reverse engineer the success that you have and you work your tail off when no one else is watching, when no one else is watching, you're out in the ball field and you're practicing. You're working on your sprint training because you have to get faster or you have to get more explosive. So you're in the gym with your coach or your trainer. You're doing Olympic lifts or plyometrics. What are the little things that you're doing that are going to allow you to athletically excel? Or if you struggle in school, are you working with a tutor? Are you saying no to go to the high school party because you have a Spanish test coming up and you have to do an extra couple hours of study so that you can pass that quiz or test? These are the little things that it takes. But remember, little micro victories, day after day, week after week, all add up to huge, huge championship wins. So make the choices that are necessary. And the choices are the same ones that I would say to put yourself in a situation to succeed. And distractions will rob you of your best self. So be the hardest worker in the room, be different, and make the right choices in your life. And only you know if you're making the right choices. Leslie, Convos with Coaches. Thank you so much, Leslie Cordova. That's a great question. And the second question I want to get to today, JT Sims, how do you get the most out of the athletes that you train? Great question here, JT Sims. Number one, I've got about 5 of them here. Number one, you've got to understand your athletes and your clients. And when I say athletes, you can intertwine clients, members, whatever it may be. But for me, the athletes, you want to understand what makes someone tick. What makes them tick? What moves their soul? How do you emotionally charge them? What's their background? Where are they from? Did they come from an underprivileged area? Do they come from a middle class area? What's their mindset? Have they had injury in the past? Where are they stuck with their mindset? How do they think? When you understand somebody, then you could best coach and train them. Number 2, I believe, and how you get the most out of the athletes that you train, you got to set goals. You got to set goals, and these goals have to be goals that are going to emotionally charge the athlete. They get fired up. If they want to be the starter on the team, they want to make all conference, they want to make all state, they want to earn a scholarship someday, whatever that is. Set goals that are going to really charge someone up emotionally and allow them to be spurred into action. So set those goals. Remember, goals are SMART goals: specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-driven, right? We want to have great goals. Number 3, challenge your athletes physically. You got to challenge them. Well, when I say challenge them, but challenge them with the correct exercises. So if someone is a quarterback or a pitcher or a swimmer, well, then you shouldn't just be doing linear type exercises: clean, snatches, squats, bench press, lat pull. Those are very linear exercises. If you're a rotational athlete, you want to challenge your athletes in the right movements that are going to correlate to the sport as well. So while some of those exercises are important in developing absolute strength, I want to make sure that you are training the athlete so that it's going to help their sport as well. And that's what I'm always looking for. Physically, how can I challenge them to be their best? If they're looking to improve their strength, or they're looking to improve their speed, how are we doing that? Are we focusing on not only for speed training, are we not only focusing on strength and explosive power, but what about flexibility of the hips and the hamstrings to elongate stride length, which is part of speed training? So you got to challenge them physically. Number 4, when it comes to how do I get the most out of my athletes that I train, is I'm going to hold my athletes accountable. I'm going to hold them accountable because everyone comes in here, they says they want to be great. Todd, I've got this potential. I know I could do this. Great. I love the fact that you believe that. But when push comes to shove, are you going to show up at 6 o'clock in the morning and train, or 9 o'clock in the morning, or after school when you're tired, or on a Saturday if you have a day off? When it comes to accountability, I'm going to hold them. I'm going to text them. I'm going to send them videos. If I find a verse or a quote, I'm going to text them that. I want to hold them accountable to every single thing that they're doing. And lastly, number 5, when it comes to not only the young athletes, but even the pro athletes, is I want to mentor them. I want to mentor them. Mentor them meaning coach them. I'm going to coach them in all aspects of their life, because sometimes people define themselves as the sport they play or the activity they're in. And I believe life is much bigger than just the sport you're playing. I believe that when you find your divine purpose, and maybe sport is part of that for a short while, but when you find your divine purpose and you get your body right, you get your mind right, you get your spirit right, all of those things, I believe there's always gifts inside of us that we have to tap into to ultimately fulfill that potential. So if you're a high school athlete, sports may be a short-lived part of your overall life, and maybe you're 18 and you're done, or you're 21, 22 if you're blessed to play college ball, or maybe beyond. But even the pro athletes, you got to find purpose beyond the sport on that. So for me, those are the 5 things I look for. I got to know them and what makes them tick. I want to challenge them physically. I'm going to set goals with them first, challenge them physically. I'm going to hold them accountable, and I'm going to mentor them so I can get their body, mind, and spirit right. So great questions today coming in from both Leslie and JT Sims. I hope you enjoyed that. Wherever you're at, I want you to make sure that you go out, that you train hard, and you eat right. Whether you're a high school athlete, you're a weekend warrior, you're a fitness enthusiast, you always use training, your physical training, as a way to get your mind right, a way to get your body right, and you keep working to get 1% better every single day. Keep those questions coming. Remember, go to toddurkin.com/podcast. Keep firing away those questions, and I'll keep firing away the answers. Peace, and God bless.